Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Amir Arif bin Zul, metric number 055718. In this video, I will show you how to set up an Ubuntu web server using Oracle Cloud virtual machine. Firstly, we need to rename or give a name to our instance. For example, I will give my server name is Amirul server, and then we will go to image and shape, and we will change the image to Ubuntu. We will pick the latest version, which is 20404, and then we change the shape to Intel, and we pick the first one. After that, we will download the key, SSH key for the server. This key will be used in Putty application to connect to the server. And then we will specify the boot volume. I will choose 100 gig, and we untick the use in transmit encryption, and then we create the server. After the server done creating, it will begin to set up by itself automatically, so we will wait until the setup finish. As soon as the server is running, we will copy the public IP address and save it somewhere. I will save it in the notepad just in case I'm accidentally logged out from the server. After that, we will go to Putty. This is where we will connect to the server by using the public IP address, and put it in the host name and let it use port 22, and we click open. And then we will log in using Ubuntu as username, but it will show an error since this is where we will use Potigen to import the key from the HSS key that we already download. We need to pick the SSH-1 RSA, and the parameter for this will be PK version 2. Click OK, and then we click save private key. Click test, and then we will give the name to the new key. Click save. Okay, close this, and we open Putty again. And now we will use the same IP, public IP, and then we will go to SSH and authentication, and we will browse the key that we already create. And we click OK to open, and we will log in as Ubuntu again. After this, we will run the command to be root, and then we will add a new user in for the server. I will create new user, name Amirul. We will create the password for the new user, and we just leave the detail as default, and yes. After that, we will make the user to be controlled as root, so the user can access root. After that, we will access the nano etc sshd config to enable the user to log in without using key that we already create. So that error because I forget to put a first slash in front of etc. Okay. Here we will navigate to the bottom, and then we will put match user and the username, and then we will put password authentication equal to yes, and then we will put keyboard uh, keyboard inactive interactive equal to uh, keyboard interactive authentication equal to yes. So the user will every time user Amirul want to log in, they need to enter the password for security. We control O to save, and we control X to exit that. We check again if we enter it correctly. So if it's correct, we just exit again. And then we will exit and try to log in as Amirul. So we don't have to put the key since we already setting in the SSHD config. Amirul can just log in. So we will try. So there's an error when I try it because I forget to restart the server. Every time you change, you need to restart the server before you can proceed with the change we made. So again, put in as Ubuntu, and then navigate to root, and then we will restart the SSH. After restart, we will try again to log in as Amirul. Okay, this time we don't put the key. It should be working. So mirror, and then server ask for password, and we put the password, and we now in Amirul. So this is user Amirul. So we can navigate to root. Every time you want to navigate to root, he will add, the server will ask a password for Amirul user. Now we will update this. We will update get apt update. It's supposed to be apt update. We'll have to put get. And now updating. And after that, we will install Apache 2. Yes, installing. After that, we will install software properties command. We will install PHP. This is the process where we install PHP 8.0. And we get the update again. And yes, we want to install PHP 8.0. After we install everything, we will restart Apache. And then now we will check the Apache server status, and it's running. Now we will check the firewall in the server, and to make sure that we allow the port 80 and port 443 to be running. So in ingress and egress, we already we already set up the port for 80 and port of 443. And now we will disable the firewall within the terminal, the OS itself, the Ubuntu OS. So we copy that command and enter, and we copy the second command for port 443, first command for port 80, enter, and then we restart the server, restart Apache. You start the IP table. After we start, we can try to run the public IP on the browser, and we will able to access Apache 2 default page. So now, after that, we will configure Apache to enable HTTPS protocol. This configuration will allow the HTTPS After we already configured the HTTPS for the Apache, we will try to access our default page by putting the HTTPS on front to see if it's working. So there an error since the HTTPS is not registered, so we need to make the HTTPS as a valid HTTPS. So we will install CurtBot, and yes, we installed it. Then we will set up our domain for that public IP. We will using node IP website where it will give you one free domain. So I will choose the first one, the dns.net. Add hostname. So we will try to find the hostname, the valid hostname. Okay, after we already create our domain, we will modify this domain and put our IP, public IP, in the IP4 address. So every time we type that domain, it will navigate to the public IP, which is our server. After that, we just copy the domain name, and when we paste it on browser it will navigate to this Apache Ubuntu default page. After we done create our domain, we will configure the domain to be able to use HTTPS. In here I change the data in the index.php. to test that it works with PHP. And I refresh my domain, and there you go. Welcome to my server. So now we will create a certification HTTPS for this domain. So we enter our domain name, and then we will enter where the domain, where the page that need to be certified is located. For me, it's located in bar/www/html. And after that, we will copy the certification and save it somewhere before we edit our configuration file in the server. So we save that key. Now we will go to site enable directory and access the default.ssh font to edit the certification in this. So we will go down to find the certification SSL certificate, and we will change that with the one that we already created. Certbot is we use Certbot because it's a free certification if you want to test your website or something like that. So I accidentally get out from that. So we access again, and we try to put it the certificate here. So we put it there for the certificate file, and then we build the certificate key file. And after we put, we should be able to access domain name by using HTTPS. Okay, after that we just save, Control O to save, and then Control X to exit. So then when we refresh, we should be able to log in with valid certification. But before that, we need to restart our Apache. After we restart, and now we can access HTTPS with a certificate, with valid certification. After that, we will put a file manager in our server so we can manage the server from the server itself, to add file, to delete file, to edit file. So we will run the command wget and put the link, raw link from the GitHub, and it will send the tiny file manager.php into our server. So now when we edit the domain by navigate to tinyfilemanager.php, it will open the file manager, and we can manage it from the server itself. So the password and the username is admin and admin123. And if we sign in, we have our server. So now we will change the ownership of all the file from root to www-data, so we can change everything in there without uh, without having an error that is cannot be changed since it belongs to root. So we check the detail, and everything index.php traffic time file manager now can be edited by the user. And when we refresh the file manager in browser, the ownership now changed. And now we will try to upload a file, let's say article 6. When we upload it below 2 MB, so it will upload with ease without any error. And then we try to access the file that we already insert from the server by adding slash the name of the file that we added. Let's say article 6 dot PDF. So we type the article6.pdf, and it should be able to access it. We can change a little bit so it won't automatically download it. We try again, article6.pdf, and it will load the article from the server. There you go. And now we try to navigate to etc, php, we want to try to change the default upload size, so you can upload file size more than 2 MB. So we will navigate to php.ini and access it from the browser itself, and we will find several line of code we need to edit, so the server will able to upload to accept file bigger than 2 MB, 2 megabyte. Search So the first thing we will change is make execution time, where we will give the server more time to upload bigger file, so it won't the upload will be successful. Max input time, we also will edit that to give more time for the server to upload bigger file. And then we will try to search for the code line, and up here post max size we will change it to 60, which means 16 megabyte can be uploaded to the server. We try to find the other code. Which is upload max file, we change it to 62 to 60, I mean 60 megabyte, and the max file uploaded will be 2000. And we save that, we exit, and then we will try if this we will try to find a file bigger than 2 MB. Let's see, I can find some not too big, but I don't want that big, but just bigger than 2 MB. Not big, not too big. Okay, here KB, still KB, wiki file cannot be demonstrated. We'll try to look at the picture. Okay, this is more than 2 MB. This is less, so we go this picture here. Okay, it's more than 2 MB, barely more. So if we upload it, it should be fail. We fail to upload the picture because it still cannot upload it. So we should restart it. Restart to restart, and then now we should be able to upload the picture. And try to open it, and now it's uploaded, and we can see it already uploaded, and we can try to open it from our browser. Let's get the name, and we put it here, and we can access it from the browser, from the server. There, nice picture. And then now we will try to upload the RSS the star from, I take this code from FIK hosting. So this is the star page. So I'm supposed to be able to run it from the server. Test.php, and then there you are. The star now can be run on the server. Next is all the article in here. Now we will create a second domain. Since no IP is a free domain, so I created a new account with new email, so I can get another free domain. So in here we will create new domain, name server 2. So this one server .ddns, this one .opto, and we modify it and we put it the public IP from the same server in here. So update the hostname, and if we take this domain and run it through browser, it will open the same thing as the first domain does. So we can access server index, we can access the test.php, which is the star, and we can access tiny file manager from here too. But we don't want to access the same thing, so we will create a new file for the new domain, so it will open different things, so it will not open the same thing as the first domain. So now we will go to outside of PHP and we will navigate to Apache folder, Apache 2 directory, cd file /www. So in here we have HTML, which is the first server folder. So we will make new directory for our second domain, and let me make it I will make HTML2. This is for second domain. So after that we'll check, so there's two folders in there, one HTML1 and the other one HTML2. So we navigate into the HTML2 and we're gonna create index.php for the second domain. So we will type in h1 welcome to my second server. Okay, close the heading and save it. Control O, save, and Control X to exit. Now in the HTML2 we have an index.php, so we will navigate to etc and we will navigate to Apache 2 directory, and we're gonna see what file to okay, we're gonna go to the site enable directory, then we're gonna go to the we're gonna create two new conf file by copying the default, the http one default conf file to the new for the second server, second domain. So we copy default.com to html2.com config.com and then enter, and then now we have it, and we can edit it in there to specify what the domain for this configuration file will look like. So we change it to HTML2 for the common boot, and then we will add server name. We open that again. But we can no. Okay. Now we edit it second time. HTML2. Then we edit server name and we put the second domain. So when we paste the domain at the browser, it will open the second folder, which is HTML2 instead of HTML1. Then we're gonna save, Control O, and Control X, and then when we need to restart the server, Apache server first. Restart Apache, and then when we refresh, it will show welcome to my second server. Yeah. So now we have our own folder for the second server. And now we will set up the HTTPS for the second server. So the second server can also be accessed with a valid certificate. So in here I make a mistake where I copy the active port configuration instead of copying the default -ssl config. So when I access the show me the active server, so I remove that and copy the correct one, and in here we will add the server name. Server name, and we put the second server, second domain, and then we edit to HTML2 instead of HTML. So it will access. So now we save it and exit, and if we try, it can access the file, but it doesn't have the valid certificate since it using the certificate for the first domain name. So we need to change that, and by access the certbot cert only and create the new certificate for the new domain. And then certbot cert only, we choose 2, and we put our second domain, and we enter, and we put the folder is bar html2 instead of html1. So we find it bar www.html2, copy and enter, and then we do the same thing. We copy the certificate copy the private key, the certificate key, and now we're gonna edit. Gonna edit the port 443 file and put our the new certificate to replace the old certificate, the old certificate for the first domain. So this is for second domain. I'm gonna delete it and copy and paste it. And paste it, and then we delete the certificate key file too. And after that we're gonna save, Control O and Control X again, save. And after that we will restart the Apache. After restart, now we can access HTTPS with certification, a valid certification. And now we will try to run both server uh, this is the first server, and this is the second server with different domain, and that's it.